both Lee and I were very, let's just say, disgruntled.
Yes, that's a good word. That's a good word, John.
But even so, no matter how disgruntled I was, I could never muster the vitriol that Lee could.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
This is Kyle. Kyle doesn't like junk food. Kyle doesn't do drugs. Kyle likes to work out. Do some good shit.
You're funny.
Like I said, do you like my tail? Like I said.
And we are back for another installment of Iron Rage. I'm Dave Palumbo, joined by Lee Priest at like 3 a.m. over there in Australia. And the brain scan is in. You're normal.
Yeah. They always say you should get a second opinion, Dave. And when that came back and said my brain function was normal, I'm thinking, this is bullshit. There's something definitely fucking wrong up there. So
I said to myself, I told you, Lee, you're more normal than you think. But so now you've had, hold on. You know what? I think you've had more scans done than I have recently because, I've had all the cardiac scans and everything like that. And at one point, I got an abdominal scan because I was convinced that I had.
I had that. I had the colonoscopy. Then I had the brain.
You've had a lot. You've had a lot of scans recently. I got to tell you.
Well, next week I got to go get the shoulder scanned again because I have that divot now. Look, if you see on the bicep, see that like divot here.
Let me zoom. Hold on one second.
So this is like 3 a.m. That pump. See where it's gone in there?
Yeah.
I was picking up a big piece of wood in the driveway, and suddenly I went, oh fuck. Same feeling I had when I ripped those tendons off up here and the bicep fell down.
Yeah.
So I think I got a partial tear there. So I'm going to have to go see the guy about that.
But you know what? There's nothing they're going to do for that. Those are just some fibers. Those are just some fibers that you took.
Yeah, but maybe if it needs reattaching a little bit. But then this one here caused this is the weirdest thing ever. My wife, this is why I got a brain scan because I think I was going nuts because I got back from Rome at 2 a.m. Saturday morning. My friends are like, Lee, there's a car show on. So I got home at 2 a.m. after being up for 40 hours. 6 a.m. I get up to go, clean the car. So I only had 4 hours sleep after 40 hours of being up. Get to the car show, there all day. About 6 at night, people are like, weren't you just overseas? I said, yeah, I got back 2 days ago. My friends are like, Lee, you got back this morning at 2 a.m. I'm like, was it this morning? And then the next day I was up again doing shit. And then Monday is when my head was just like pounding my temples. This eye here's going blurry. And I'm thinking, oh my God. So my wife's just as bad as me. She starts Googling shit. Well, could be mini stroke. It could be blah, blah, blah. No. Thanks. I called my doctor. He's like, go get a scan. Got it done. Said I was normal. I think I was just being overtired and dehydrated. But then my Camaro to Canberra was off. I had the new wheels and tires put on. So I didn't notice until the other day I turned the wheel really hard. I felt weird when I was driving it a bit, but I'm like, older cars drive a bit rough. But I turned the wheel out and half the tyre had perfect tread. The inner part looked like a drag strip, fucking radial, just smooth. So I go to the car place. As I pull into the car park, I pull in and I pull the gear shifter back to put in reverse. Twang! 2 like rubber bands go in this shoulder. I'm thinking,
you're falling apart, man.
And the thing was, I took a week off training thinking, it'll do me good. All that's happened since I've taken a week off training, I've been fucking injured.
You didn't buy this car, did you?
Which car? Oh no, I just took a photo of that at the airport.
That's what I said. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Lee bought another car." I'm like, he didn't buy that Lamborghini. I said, "Come on."
That Lamborghini in Australia, you'd be looking at a couple of $1 million.
That's what I think. I said that's going to cost $1 million right there in Australia.
Oh, easy in Australia. Oh my God. No, actually, if I got a new sponsor, I might buy that because my sponsor got mad at me because Aaron, like I said, I helped him. I didn't help him start it, but in the beginning, I put labels on his bottles, take it to the post office for him, and he wanted to sponsor me. You know the story. I said, look, when the company gets bigger, sponsor me. But then COVID come along, and I couldn't really do anything for him because he was in England and that. That's when I came to Species, and then, like I said to you, Aaron was talking about having me back, so I went back to Aaron, and then the last 3 months payments stopped, and I'd write to him going, what's going on and that. Then I'd get ignored, and then I was going overseas. So I said, look, I'm going to be in Italy. It's right near Spain. It's in UK. Where are you going to be? The guy's already paid for my ticket. He's changed my ticket to come back 3 weeks later so we can do all his content. Didn't hear from him. So then I put up a thing and somebody said, what's happening with you and Aaron? Are you going to see Aaron? And all I said was, no, I'm not sure because he hasn't paid me. Well, didn't I get a reply then? Take that down. It makes me look bad. It makes me look, they're thinking, well, Aaron, you haven't paid me. I said, I got bills. I said, look, I understand because his sister, I think she was going through chemo, and I think last time, I think she's doing a lot better, which is good. And I said, look, I got my stepfather going through chemo. Everything's covered but radiation. It's like 6,000 a pop, so trying to help out there and stuff. And like I said, I'm not just living off this. I have other little sponsors, and that, you know, Dave gives me the tips from the shows here and stuff, so I can get a cup of coffee to keep me going at 3 a.m. But the thing is, I put that other money, like Aaron's money, I just keep in the bank. That's mainly for, you know, living bills, fuel, whatever.
Right.
The other I put into a savings, but it's in one of those savings account now where I've probably got like 20,000 interest, but the banks get you where if I go in and take anything out, they take all that fucking interest.
Oh, really?
So it's like,
it's like, what is it, like a bond you bought?
Yeah, it's almost like it's one of those, you
Savings
put it in
bonds.
there, if you don't touch it, the interest keeps building up, but the second you touch it, they're like, oh, for penalty, we're going to fucking just take that back.
You can't take it out, in other words. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I don't want to touch that. So, but some account that I mainly use now is going down and down and down. That's why I'm up at 3 o'clock. I'm going down to Sam's Fitness to do videos because he pays me to go down and do a video. But now I'm just worried. I got my car back. Need a new fuel pump. I don't want.
So what are you driving now? Are you still driving the old car?
I got the Dodge Nitro still, and that which is. But I'm actually looking to get something a little bit lower because my dogs are getting bigger now. Like they're over 70 kilos, and the back of the car's high. I'm thinking, my luck, the dog's going to jump out, break its leg, and a vet bill here is like fucking 10 grand. So I'm thinking I'm going to get like maybe a lower type car they can get.
I'm surprised you even bring the dogs in the car because you're such a neat freak, you know.
I have like one of those dog blanket things that goes over the seats and stuff, and then you can hose it out. But this car that broke down at the airport when I came back from filming in Broken Hill before, it's running okay now, but I'll say this now, if it breaks down, if you see there's a big car fire on the side of the freeway, ignore it. So but if I don't break down, Dave, you can leave this in. If I do break down, cut that bit out because the car had a fuel leak and it caught fire.
Don't die. We were just talking about all these like young guys that like die in car accidents, you know. I was telling Lee about this movie I watched, A Grader. It's about a guy who plays football, and his dream is to play for the Arkansas Razorbacks, and he has like no talent as a kid. He's a fat kid. He sits on the couch and eats potato chips all day. But he says, I'm gonna go to Arizona when I go to college, and I'm gonna play for the Razorbacks. And everyone's like, yeah, whatever, you know. You don't do anything, you know. And it's a great story, but overcoming odds and proving to everyone. He was a walk-on. He was a walk-on at Arizona, and they said you'll never get a scholarship. And if he had to get a scholarship because his mother leveraged and mortgaged everything about the house just so he can go that 1 year. If he didn't get a scholarship the next year, then that was it. And they said it would never happen. Even the coach told him he'll never get one. And
isn't it funny? It just shows you if you have sometimes yes, you're going to have talent, but sometimes. Yeah, we've seen in bodybuilding some of the greatest guys that have the best genetics. If you don't have it up here mentally and in here in the heart and that, you're not going fucking nowhere where you can get a guy like that where I'm sure there's thousands of guys who are better athletes, but yet he had that determination up here to do it and he done it. But isn't it sad when you see this happen so many times, these athletes who do succeed like that at young ages and get somewhere and make something of their lives, die young. And let's face it, Dave, we know lots of fucking assholes who are old who we wish would fucking die, but they don't. So it's
maybe dying is actually maybe that's a good thing. We just don't know about
But
it.
that's what I've always thought when they say, sometimes they say once you've come to Earth and you've learnt your lessons and you've done what you're meant to do, then you go wherever you're meant to go.
Yeah.
So I always got to keep finding things to do just so I'm not
Lee,
telling
I got a list a mile long of stuff I got to do
Yeah.
purposely for that very reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
going to
done.
stop being
I'm like,
nice.
God, really, I'm not done. I got 5 more things to do still.
They say only the good die young, so I'm going from this day on. I'm going to start being an asshole.
Did you see Norman Lear just died? What was he, like 101?
Well, that's a good innings, isn't it? Fuck, 101.
And I heard he was like pretty, he was like pretty with it at 101.
Yeah, I saw. You did the thing about Ruth passing away.
Yeah, Ruth Silverman. What was your relationship with her?
I was trying to remember. I said to my wife, it was either when I got inducted into the Venice Beach Hall of Fame.
Oh, she was there?
Or the Olympia I went to. It was one of those I saw her at and had a good chat to. Yeah, because it was very recent. They're the only 2 times I've really been in that area. She was either at the Venice Beach or the Olympia. I bumped into her. And it's funny, she looked exactly like that still. It's like, not saying she was old, but in her 70s, but she still looked exactly the same. And we had a good little chat. So, yeah.
Look, if you take care of yourself, and she did, I mean, you live a good life. Sometimes you can't help, you get sick or something happens. She fell and hit her head. And so,
and that's another reason why when I was sitting there watching your show and you said a brain bleed, that's the same day.
You went and got the CAT scan of your head, yeah.
I said, that's it. I can see it now. Dave's doing the thing on me. And then the worst thing too was the next day after I got back and I'm at the car show, all day I had the worst pain down the side of my leg, and I'm thinking, I wonder if it's a fucking blood clot. Do I have a fucking blood clot? I'm going home. I'm fucking chewing aspirin. I'm like, that only hurts when I sort of get up. When I'm walking, it's not bad. So maybe it's not a clot. So I'm going through all these fucking.
Well, the other day for some reason I don't know. All of a sudden in the morning, my left eye, which is the one I had the cataract surgery, it was driving me crazy. It felt like I had like an itch. It was or something. I felt like I had like an eyelash in my eye almost. And I know I can't rub it. What?
My right eye is exactly the same. I can feel like I've got something in there.
Yeah.
This eye looks 20/20. This one like this, everything's fucking blurry. So
Maybe
I Google it and they say it could be like the pressure from there could be like sign of a stroke coming on.
Yeah. When was the last time you went to the eye doctor? Probably never, right?
No, I did. I went probably a year or so ago and got new glasses, but then now for this eye is still good, but this eye was the one. Remember, I don't know if you remember when they operated on that and did my cornea on this one and did the eyelid. Remember, my eyelid opened up and I actually had a hole on top of my eyelid I could see through.
Yeah, that's right.
And this was the one. This was the one they were operating on too. When I woke up out of anesthesia, and I'm like, and I started making jokes, and I'm like, "Don't you sleep? I don't want to become a fucking pirate and stuff." And he started laughing. I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't make jokes while he's that close to my fucking eye. So if it gets put me back out. So ever since I had that eye surgery, this one's been fucking worse.
Well, so I had this like itch, and I know you can't rub your eye after cataract surgery. So I'm like thinking, the lens they put on must be peeling off. I've already created every bad scenario in my head.
Like, well, my wife told me that too. Maybe your cornea is detached. So now, yes, I'm going to go. Look, I brought these online. I found these glasses online. Look at these ones.
Let me see. Oh, those are cool.
But the thing is, look, they're very good. What you do is they've got things on the side here.
Yeah.
And you twist it.
Right.
I can read that, Lee, you're in the show. Because if you look side on, see how they got.
Oh, they got like the side things, yeah. Oh, what?
Yeah, as you twist it, the lens goes in and out the focus for it.
Oh, so you could actually you can set your own prescription on there, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but they're pretty useless. They don't fucking. How do I look at it?
I'll put my glasses on just to be my reading glasses, just to look.
Dave, where are you?
Hey, Lee.
Dave, where do you want to go? And I did see a thing with. Well, it seems that long since I've been overseas. But like I said, when I went to the doctors on the scan on Thursday I was arguing. Was that yesterday? It was yesterday. But Wednesday I was arguing with my wife. Yeah, I went to scan today. She's like, honey, that was yesterday. I'm like,
No.
Today because my friend Paul picked me up to bring me home. She's like, no. You know when you're just so overtired and jet lagged and no sleep and no food. I'd swear that Saturday I got home and to Wednesday was the same fucking day. It all just fucking blended into one.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the worst ever because I never slept.
That's a brutal flight, Lee, that you took back.
Especially when you don't sleep either. Well, coming home, it was like we left Rome and it was like a 5-hour drive from Rome back to Bologna. Had like 3-hour layover there, then 7.5 hours from there to Dubai, 3-hour layover in Dubai, 14 hours from Dubai to Sydney, and then a 2.5-hour drive home. I'm on Instagram as I'm driving home.
You know what? You blew it. I'll tell you why you blew it. You should have stayed in Dubai for a day and or even 2 days and gotten some stem cells done for your neck.
I know.
That would have been smart.
As I'm driving home, I got live Instagram on so people can keep me awake. Then it starts raining. Have you ever been that tired too?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking, did something just run across the road? Did I fucking see?
No, you start singing and screaming and try to keep yourself awake. I know, it's terrible.
Oh, the worst thing was, though, when I connected my music to the Apple CarPlay, the volume control wouldn't work. So there's random songs of fucking ABBA coming on, the Village People, whatever was on my playlist, like far out songs from the 80s, and people like, what's this shit? I'm
like Blackman's playlist, it sounds like.
It's 2 a.m. The car's fucking possessed. It's 2 a.m. I can't fucking look for fucking everything. Just enjoy what you see. And I said, you might see Lee hit a fucking tree in a minute, so just be happy.
Yeah. When you're tired and you're driving, it's the worst feeling because you literally.
You start seeing things. You start seeing things running across the road. I'm like, fuck this.
People don't realize if you don't sleep for like more than like 24 hours, you start hallucinating too. I mean, you really do hallucinate, and it's scary because you don't even know what's real after a while. So
I was scared yesterday. This was I can't remember the last day because I took the Somalize, and then that was like earlier. Then I was like, oh, maybe I'll say. And my wife had like 2 milligram melatonin.
Right.
So before I went to bed, I took one and I dozed off. Woke up, took a piece doze off, and I woke up, and she was already up because she'll get up early. I went, oh, it must be like 6 o'clock. I looked over. I'm like, 8 a.m. Who fuck 8 a.m. It's like I can't remember the last time I slept in the fucking 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, my God.
What do you think about this shot? Hold on, let me pull this up. Rubio Mascara just posted this recently.
Oh.
It's a pretty freaky shot, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, that just sounds strange. Nothing against him and the powers that be. That has nothing to do with the powers that be, but I see he's coming to Australia with Chris Cormier. Tony Doldy is bringing him down.
Oh, he is?
But do you ever find it weird that, Australia's had a lot of good bodybuilders, Sonny Schmidt, John Torelli and that, but, I'm still one of the ones that are still around.
Mm-hmm.
John's still around. But do you find it weird that Tony flies in lots of Americans, but he never asks Australia's best bodybuilder to ever come to his shows?
I don't know. Did you guys have any beef, or is there any?
No. Well, I've known him since I was the only beef we did have a beef. I've known him since I was a teenager. The only time he didn't talk to me were those 7 years I was suspended. Didn't talk to me.
Right.
Couldn't go to his show because, Lou, can't come, you're suspended. But then when they split, IFBB and Raphael split, I get the phone call. Hey, Lee. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Tony's calling. I wonder what this is. How you going? Good. I'm putting on a show. If you want, you can come down to it now. We've gone separate ways. And I said, well, why couldn't they come before? He's like, well, you know how it is. I said, no, I don't. I said, I competed in your show since we've been a fucking teenager. I haven't heard from you. Yeah. He's like, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm like, even if you had sent me a text, Tony, in these 7 years, who would have known? It's like, so it was a bit shitty. But then I did see was it on one of your interviews or interview that I think you might have mentioned, and Tony goes, Yeah, I do admit I didn't contact Lee over those years when he was.
You know what the truth is. The truth is that Tony has a very good business in Australia with bodybuilding, and he spent a long time nurturing that. It took him a long time to get to that point. I remember when he used to come on my show, and he was barely scraping by, making, bringing guys in. He would fly out to the Arnold and try to get guys to, fly out.
Oh, he was always there, scalping the guys.
I mean, I think it's his livelihood. So I guess,
I
to
always praised Tony. I always said, I think a lot of other guys did too. If you ever wanted to do an Australian pro show, when it comes to like treatment of the athletes, Tony was number one when he comes to flying you in, having the food prepared, having a place to stay, wherever you need to get to go. Like, you couldn't find a better promoter out there, but it just seemed a shame that we're friends for that long and all of a sudden.
I know.
I did hear that. Is it true or not? Someone told me this yesterday, but I think it sounds weird. I heard the Arnold Classic was coming back to Australia.
Oh, it is?
But Paul Graham was going to be putting it on. Paul Graham's with the other.
Yeah. He's with Raphael.
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility. Because don't forget, Arnold promotes the Arnold Classic in Spain, the Europe one with Raphael.
Yeah, I heard that was happening. He was coming back, because I know. Who knows?
I always felt that Tony probably didn't need Arnold for the Australia show, because I've gone to his Australian, the last couple of Australian Grand Prix before they switched over to the Arnold, they were huge.
Great.
They were huge. And I have to imagine that, I don't know if Tony made any more money with Arnold. You know what I mean? Because he has to give Arnold his cut. So
you might have lost money.
I felt like Tony could have done it better himself. And maybe that's what they're doing now. I don't know. Maybe they're just.
I think, the way Tony promotes it and runs it, he gets a few good pros down here. You put on a show, have a seminar type thing. And that, I think, like you said, you'll probably make more, because you're not paying for the Arnold Classic sanction and the name and stuff like that. And I know Chris and a lot of those guys too, when they come out here, they make pretty good money setting up, like, training people, or maybe doing little seminars around the country. So
absolutely, I miss him. I like him.
But again, Lee never gets asked. So if you want to see me, if you're coming out to the Australian show Tony's putting on, if you want to see me, I'll be in Newcastle, maybe at the local McDonald's.
Maybe if Tony's watching this, now that he knows you're interested, he'll contact you and he can get you to do something over there. Sure.
Any sponsors that are interested in me, I'm available.
No, because if he put you in a booth there, I mean, you would be very popular. You know that.
So sometimes, but it's always weird. It's almost like Australians are very weird with athletes.
In your own backyard, they don't give a shit about you. Yeah, I know. That's the same thing with
It's like, even you could be like, even coming up, whether it be in rugby league here or cricket and stuff, you can be like the best. But no one gives a shit. You go overseas and you make a name overseas. When you come back, they're like, Australia's own. And it's like, you didn't give a fuck about me when I was trying to get there and make it. But they call it the tall poppy syndrome too. If you're really good at something here, they just drag you down. We had like Ricky Ponting, one of the greatest cricketers.
Yeah.
One year when I moved back, he was going through a bad patch. He's just like, he's a guy that hits 100 runs a lot, but he's got one of the highest run records apart from Don Bradman and that. So he went through a bad stage. Oh, my God. He'd walk out and the Aussie crowd would start booing him. I'm thinking, how uplifting is that? You're walking out and your country's booing you. I'm thinking, do you think this guy just sits back in the locker room and goes, yeah, I'm going out to have a shit game? It's like, no matter what sport it is, it's like, you got to realize people are human. They have good days and bad days. And some days you could be good, but guess what? The other team or the other person could be that little bit better, and shit happens. But the way people just bring someone down, like I said, you could have 100 wins, you have one loss. Oh, he's shit. Well, in bodybuilding, how many times do we see that? Guys win a show, and then you might get third at one. Oh, he's done. He's washed up. He's shit. It's like, fuck, you had one bad showing.
You're right, but that's it's the old "what have you done for me lately" mentality, and that's just the world we live in, right? I mean, we love to bring our heroes up, and then we love to see them fall, and then we love a great comeback too, right?
Well, I think we always loved that, but it would happen like it happened to Ronnie, it happened to Phil Heath and that. You love when they're coming up, it's like, oh, he's won too much now. Fuck him. Can someone beat him? Then they start hating on him.
Right. We start finding every little flaw they've got in their physique, and we want to, you know.
And then no matter what they say from that point on, I think even Phil would make a comment like, yeah, I think I'm going to win. I think I can win this one. Oh, look at him being so arrogant and cocky and bugging. It's like,
right. You know, it's funny how some people just like certain people and they don't like other people. Like Jay was always like a very likable Mr. Olympia, right? Everyone just loved Jay. Everyone loved Ronnie. You know,
I call Jay Mr. Perfect all the time because he's always so perfect and politically nice. And
he's smart. He's very savvy. And
I do like it though when I watch his live sometimes. But I'll come on and annoy him when he's on live with Angie and that, and she starts laughing because I'll make him start swearing. It's so funny when you see Jay in his house cooking, then he'd be like using the F word, and then I'm thinking it just sounds so weird here. And Jay goes,
right, coming out of his mouth.
What's fucking Lee going on about now? What the fuck's Lee?
Right.
Yeah, so
I have to tell you the story about my.
I did see that. I haven't mentioned it since being back, but I did see the fall of the Empire MD came down.
Oh yeah.
But I do agree. It would be nice if he could bury the hatchet because, like you said, no one holds grudges. But it would actually be nice to have Steve on and just talk about. You know, don't go into all the bullshit. What happened? That's past. But just talk about the good times and the funny stories and funny things that have happened. I think that would be a good show.
I do too. I mean, I don't know if he can move past the mockery and the ridicule that we've put on him ever since.
You mean when I dressed up? When I dressed up as him?
Yeah. Well, look, it's show business. So I took when he fired.
Imitation is something. What is imitation? Is something form of flattery?
Yeah. When he fired John and I took the Howard Stern approach. I went on the attack because we were wrong. So I played, but it was always a game. It was never really like I never really disliked him. I think John for a while really disliked him because John was hurt emotionally. I wasn't in that sense. It was more an act for me, but I just I enjoyed the whole MD versus us thing because I played it up and I used it for marketing.
And the people love it, and the
fans love it. Yeah, they love it.
That's what I can never understand. That's where Wayne was smart with me too, because there's a couple of times when Wayne and I'd go at it. Wayne would come to me and go, "Okay, Lee, in the meeting, have a go at me, and I'll go back up there." Because he knew it's like even when I did that letter, I said to him, "Wayne, I'm going to give you the letter." Actually, I went to give it to him in the meeting. He's like, "No, Lee, got a better idea. At the press conference, let's just start it there. I'll bring up how Milos didn't do it and that, and let's do it there." I'm like, okay. And look how good it went on the thing, and people love seeing it.
Because Wayne already had in his mind that he was going to give prize money to everyone, right? So he already had the solution figured out in his head. That's why.
Yeah, so.
But it was laid out. That's the same thing with Blackman. For me, it was never like a personal attack on him. It was more like just trying to draw attention to what we were doing. And in doing that, I made him the bad guy, which he was most of the time the bad guy. But I don't dislike Steve. I actually like him. I think I don't like the fact that he owes people money, but that was always his problem. You know what I mean? He always had that issue. But I still think he's very knowledgeable, and I think that he has a lot to contribute. And I'd love to do like I said, at the very least an interview with him so that people get.
Well, I believe it. Like you said even before, even if it was once a month, because you used to have different opinions, some things on carbohydrates and nutrition, and that even just have once a month, we can call it Steve's newspaper articles, and he can come on with his pile of newspapers, and you can sit there.
We can do a great intro, with people circling things in the Wall Street Journal with a pen.
We can have the monthly news with Dave and Steve, where he's got all the fucking health things circled.
He can give them the research, all the latest rearticles that came out.
I said, why not just play into it and have fun? Because, like I said, no one holds. Even like I said, I was surprised. I even mentioned it on the IFBB podcast I did with Milos and Chris Tuttle yesterday. That like we always put shit on Shaun and that. Shaun, as I said, can't fault him as a bodybuilder. I think he should have been Mr. Olympia. But I was actually impressed. If you get to watch Sean Ray's interview with Jay Cutler is actually a pretty good interview. It's almost a different side of Sean where he's talking and stuff. So it's not a bad one. Because normally you see, oh, fuck, Sean's on a podcast. I'll skip that. He's only going to be me. But no, it was actually, if you get a chance, have a look at it. It's like it was really good interview.
No, if he puts himself aside, he understands how to interview people. He knows how to talk to people. He's a good.
But it was Jay. It was like he went on actually on the Jay and Manager Matt show, so it was pretty good.
Oh, he did. I'll watch it. I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Look, I think everyone in our industry has a lot to contribute if you can extract the right information out of them. I mean, some people are just, they're very negative or they're trying to promote an agenda, and that's I think when people get annoyed. But it is what it is.
But the main thing is, too, they have to understand, too, it's like going back to the Howard Stern show. Howard Stern on radio is a totally different person to what he is off here.
Of course.
It's like I said, people can see me on This Iron Rage, you go, that Lee's a raving lunatic. But then I've done other podcasts where like, oh, Lee, that brought tears to my eyes. You're talking about stuff like that. It's like you play a character on whatever show you go on and whatever crowd, because there's different crowds for different types of things. So people just need to calm down and realize it's just the internet. We're here to entertain. We're here to have fun. If you learn something, that's great. If we say something, because I got another one I did, an IFBB AMA one. I was talking about just, the sacrifices you make. And I was just saying, look, don't make mistakes that a lot of us have made where, in the beginning would miss family functions to this and that because we wanted to be the best. And I'm saying, yes, you can be hardcore and train hard, but you don't have to go to that extreme. Just take your food with you, because I was just mentioning all the times I wished I had gone to family functions, and now once those family members are passed on, you can never get that time back. So just try and, I said, listen, you're not going to get smaller. You're not, back in the day, I was like, I got to train and eat, sleep and sit on the couch and I can't move and go anywhere. Good afternoon.
Liquor's joining us. Yeah.
Hello, gentlemen.
Fashionably late. I like it.
Well, yeah.
I was fashionably. He is actually in fashion. Look at that black shirt.
It must be cold where you are, John, because it's cold in Cape Coral today.
It's freezing.
I actually have, look, I'm going to prove it. I actually have pants on today.
Wow.
Oh my God. Long pants. No one's going to recognize Dave.
First time. I
always laugh about the story I tell. I was going into Save-Ons at Marina Del Rey once, and I was going in. I was like, because you always get the bodybuilders. So I go in Save-Ons. That was on that side across from Rudy's Diner. Remember that Save-On? Was it a Bonds? Ralph's or whatever. I go in. I got my shopping cart. And who do I see in the tiniest string of tank top and shorts? Mr. Palumbo.
You did? And what was it? What year was that, Lee?
Oh, this would have been mid-90s, late 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him, and this is what I did. I looked at him and went, because everyone was staring at him. He had the tiniest string of tank on and those little Tom Platz tennis shorts. And I went, and I'm walking, and I'm covered up. I'm like, I hope nobody thinks I'm a bodybuilder like him. So I left my groceries and went across the road to another store.
See, John, if Lee hadn't prejudged me like that, we could have been friends from all the way back then. We could have been
all the way back then.
Had a connection.
Yeah.
That was God putting us together, and Lee fucking prejudged me and left the store, and he ruined our friendship.
No, I was right too. I was right. I said, "Who's this wanker wearing a little tank?"
We could have been friends 20 years earlier than we were.
And good thing was, back then it was even more freaky because how freaky Dave was. Yeah. Every person's looking at him, but then they look over at me, and I'm like, I'm not with him.
Dave, do you remember the first time you met Lee?
I think I saw him at Gold's Gym. I don't think but we never really talked. I might have said, "Hey, what's up?" or something like that, and we probably just, because I was probably intimidated because I knew who Lee was, and I didn't really, no one ever.
But then again, you did see me when you come to Australia, but Aaron Singerman wouldn't let you talk.
Yeah, well, that's it. I was already friends with you. Lee was very quiet, so like Lee was not a guy who's super social. If he had come up to me, like David, the first time I met David Paul came right up to me and was chatting my ear off, and I knew who he was. I was like, "Oh, that's one of the Barbarian Brothers," and we became friends immediately, which would have happened to Lee and I if Lee would have come up to me. I didn't want to bother him. You know what I mean? I never wanted to be like that guy who was like a pain in the ass to the people working out in the gym. But then obviously Lee and I knew each other from MD. I think that's when we became friends,
Right.
because I used to interview him and, talk to him because Blackman, had him on the contract. And then when I went to Australia and I randomly walk into a gym and it just happens to be Lee's gym and Lee's in there. I'm like, look, it's Lee Priest. I was with Aaron Singerman. He's like, you better not say anything to him. He goes, I'm going to fight him. I'm like, you're going to fight Lee Priest? He goes, yeah, because that's when Lee was on that's when you were doing that TV show with him, John.
When we did the wedding, when we got him a wedding
shotgun show.
Remember that, Lee?
The shotgun.
Yeah, no, that's when his exact words were, Lee wished death upon my unborn child.
Yes, that's what he told me.
And I said, no, go watch this show. I said to John, if I was Aaron Singerman's child, I'd kill myself. I said, that's a big difference.
Well, it's still pretty bad. So when he told me that, I couldn't defy him. I had to spend the rest of the trip with him. I couldn't go and talking to Lee.
And to secretly wave to me across the gym.
Yeah. We kind of walked by. I gave him like a little eyebrow. Hey, what's up, Lee?
On one of our shows, Lee and I on the air bought Aaron a wedding gift.
Oh, no way.
Get him? But we got, and it wasn't even a gag gift. It was like something good too. It was like,
was it
wine glasses?
I was gonna say, was it like some crystal vase or something?
Yeah, it was something. It was something like expensive and like good.
Right.
And we sent on the air. We sent it to him and everything, and never heard.
Maybe we just shouldn't have shit in it before we sent it.
No, but yeah. See, he told me he goes. If he looks at me the wrong way, I'm just gonna hit him. I said, don't start any fights. This was like an hour before I had to do a seminar at the store down the block and whatever this.
I looked at him a few times. He didn't even look at me.
Mass Nutrition. No, yeah, he said I don't know if he was full of it or not, but he was definitely very mad. I'll tell you.
He was full of it. If you wanted to get someone, there I was. You had the perfect opportunity. It's like
I said, well, why don't you go after him? If you want to do it, why don't you just go make up with him and just talk to me? Because I'm not talking to him. I said, maybe you guys can just kind of work it out. Lee's kind of reasonable. I'm sure Lee will probably apologize to you. I said, if you go up and shake his hand, he's like, I'm not shaking his hand.
Wow.
His hands too big. His hands too big and muscular. It'll make me feel inferior.
Mass Nutrition. Those were the stores that we.
Mass Nutrition. I remember those places.
They were selling a lot. In 2012, I was the #1 selling protein in Australia.
Wow. My good friend Grant Mayer, who I used to compete with back in the day and train with, he started those stores, and now they're still like the #1 store in Australia.
Are they really still in business? Wow.
Oh, yeah. I think a couple of years ago, we have not the Forbes, but we have like a book in Australia of the top 100 business people and millionaires, and he was in that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Well, I made appearances at like about 5 of his stores all over Australia within the course of a week. Aaron and I flew from city to city. Because our distributor.
How come I never get asked to go to Australian supplement stores? I'm in Australia.
No one carries my product there anymore, because what happened was after 2012, where the Australian dollar was more powerful than the US dollar, it completely flip-flopped. And now
that's why I'm upset right now, because my Aaron, who I'm not sponsored by now, John, now and he sponsors VPX looking, bang, I'll drink some drink. Now it's like, cause that right now, I think the English pound's like 51 cents, the Australian dollar. So whatever I got paid in English pounds, it doubled. So it was going great.
Right.
Wow.
But not anymore. So,
but now he hasn't paid me for 3 months, so it's not going great.
And Lee said he was not happy when he aired the fact on the air that that he hasn't been paid.
Well, the thing was like I said,
the person not to pay, John, is Lee Priest, because Lee ain't holding anything back. That that for a fact.
Well, somebody asked me.
Same way. You don't pay me. I'm talking.
Lee. We always paid you on time. I never.
I know that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's why I said I'm just living off the tips from these podcasts right now.
Dave's
when you work for Species, you always got paid on time because.
Whoa. You mean Dave's not stealing your tips? He only steals Greg's?
Well, he was, but now he knows I'm not.
He
getting
demanded
paid.
he
Just
wants his
sending
50
me-
cents per tip
Yeah.
we get on the there.
He's sending me a little bit of money so I can just buy that baby food. I can just eat out. It's like going back to the dining days. A can of tuna, baby
Hey, you know,
food.
Branch Warren, I interviewed him the other day. I haven't put up the interview yet. His wife is pregnant with a son.
A
Now,
son.
His daughter is 11 years old. He didn't think they were going to be able to get pregnant because they had tried and then it didn't happen. And then one day she just like, I think I'm pregnant. He's like, what? She's pregnant. So she's
How'd
due
that
in
happen?
February. So
They're 11 years apart?
yes, 11 years apart.
Wow.
And
Wow.
which is kind of cool because Branch always wanted a son. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, he's going to love having a son. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? That guy's tailor-made for having a son.
Yep.
One year old. Here's your first Bowie knife.
Oh, he's gonna have an AR-15 rattle. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. You know, kids get a little bib. His kid will have a little one of those vests that carries all the ammo in it at 1 year old.
My point about the whole conversation is that Lee, it's never too late. You might, maybe you should, think about having another kid.
I just adopted another 8-year-old cat. That's enough, okay?
Come on, you'd be a great father. You have so much time on your hands too.
I really don't like kids until they're about 4. So if
Let your wife take care of the kid till he's 4, and then you can.
When they're younger, all they do is shit and scream. You can't take them anywhere.
Yeah, but Lee, you're such how many times a day do you clean the cat litter box?
Oh, I've already done it twice this morning. And
all right, it's 3 a.m. there. You've done it twice already.
I don't really like kids until they're about 32.
He would be great at changing diapers, John. He's so anal retentive, obsessive compulsive.
No. My sick mind would be I change the diaper, the kid shit somewhere. I'd be like, I'll show you, and I'll shit on the kid. I'll be like,
no, you would. You would be a great father. I think you need it. I think you're too bored. I think you gotta. It would give you a reason to live another 30 years or so.
Dave, I don't have a sponsor right now. I can't afford a child.
We'll do it a GoFundMe for you too, if you need it.
I did have one of these because I brought one of these back. These were like the ones. These were just giving out participation ones from the Lee Priest show in Italy.
Oh, nice. What is it?
And I signed the back of one, and I sign them and I send them 2 signed photos and the Lee Priest T-shirt. And I want to thank. I can't remember her name, but thank you anyway.
Lee, what is that? It looks like a shield or something like that.
Yeah, one went for $1,000 yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, you're like, okay, Lee, you don't have money coming in right now. I could keep that, but no, I promised the money to go to the animal shelters, so that's where the money's going.
Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice.
So if you see me down at the animal shelter donating the money and stealing a bit of dry kibble,
So Lee, why don't you do this? Why don't you start since you're so bored and you have so much time in here, why don't you start a Teespring store and make some Lee Priest T-shirts to sell?
I thought about that because that's where you just give them a design, don't you? When people order it, they send them out.
Yeah, you upload the design yourself and you can design the T-shirt.
Yeah, you don't have to warehouse anything.
Yeah, and you could just have like you're a cunt, but just have the you as an X or something. You're a cunt on the back, Lee Priest.
Yeah, I don't know how many of those you might sell, but you sell a few.
Millions. They love when I.
You could ask Bobby Muscles to make you like a little
there you go, Lee Priest line. I would love that.
The Priestinator shirt they can do or something like
that. It could be the Lee Priest. Here's one, the Lee Priest training kit. A little bag of Coke, a coffee table, and a shoestring. And
a diagram. You got to get
and a stencil so you can do the tattoo on your face.
Right. But you need to do it. The instructions have to be in a diagram because
Lee, that's a good idea. You should create like a henna tattoo. You ever see my kids get these tattoos?
You stick them on.
You stick them on. You put what do they stay on? They'll stay on your skin for a couple of days. And it could be like the shape of your tattoo, and people would buy it, and I'd wear it. John would wear it.
The sad thing was, remember the tattoo I had before this one, I would have had at least off the top of my head 8 people around the world who are crazy like me went and got the exact same tattoo on my face.
And then
Lee went and changed it.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, though, these people, they're good to have in your corner, because I'm thinking if he's crazy enough to go do that to his face because he's a fan of mine, I'm thinking if I ever need anyone wiped out, I just make a call to him and go,
There you go.
if you want to come train with me, I need someone.
John, before he was complaining about his eyes and how one of the eyes is bothering him, I'm thinking to himself, he's got like tattoos across his eyes and he's wondering why he's got eye problems.
Now, John, you'll be amazed by this. Because I was traveling and came back overtired and that, I'm thinking, okay, this eye's gone a bit weird. I can't remember what day it was. My temples, you get the muscles here, and I think, they seem a bit swollen. So I called the doctor, had to go get a CT scan on my brain the other day. Now you tell me if I should get a second opinion. It came back totally normal. Now I'm calling bullshit. There's no way this is fucking totally normal. I need a second opinion.
No way.
The problem, John, is that he's upset that it's normal. That's really what the problem is. That
to be honest,
abnormal.
The way I felt from being jet lagged, and like as I said, I only got 4 hours sleep in 40 hours. Then I was going to 2 car shows on the weekend, and my friends are like, "You came back today, Lee?" I said, "No, I came back 2 days ago." They're like, "Lee, you came back at 2 a.m. this morning." And I could have bet $1 million that was 2 days ago, but my head was all that bad. Yeah, but I'm thinking, mate, my brain can't be normal. What's up with that? And then I'm thinking,
did you go to?
Where?
Which car shows did you go to?
Oh, there's just a couple around here. There's one called Coffee and Cars where they meet up at like a big thing, and there's probably like 50 cars there. Good assortment of old nice cars. And then the next day is called the Pie Run. I like the Pie Run because we meet at this big bakery and they have lots of cakes and pies. That's the reason I go, of course, because cakes and pies. So
yeah, they have coffee and cars here too.
But my car's going good, though. Since I put the new thermal fans in it, the old 68 Camaro is running nice and cool. And you can't. Oh, but then here's another thing, John. I took a week off. I'm taking a week off training, and in the week off training, I've hurt myself 3 times doing fuck all. The last thing was I was putting the car in gear to get 2 front tires because the camber was off, and I just thought it was driving weird. So when I turned the wheel right around, this half of the tire looks like a normal tire with tread. The inside looks like a drag tire, just totally bald. So I go to my mate's tire shop, I'm turning it in, put it in the fucking reverse, whack, 2 rubber bands go twing twing in my shoulder. I'm like, I'm fucking falling apart putting the fucking car in gear now.
My God. Yeah.
I said to my wife, I'm glad I took a week off training because I've hurt myself 3 times. Let
me ask you a question. Are you off? Did you go off gear? Have you been like clean recently?
Probably. Well, I had that shot of the real sus 250 when I was in Italy.
So how long ago was that?
Well,
2 weeks.
How long have I been back for now?
I don't even know.
2 days, 2 weeks, something like that.
So I came back.
Sometimes, because you know what, he definitely was on a cycle before he went away, John, because you saw how good he looked, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So a lot of times when you come off, your body gets vulnerable and you start getting injuries because you get dehydrated.
I've probably been off 10 days. 10 days would have been my last shot of sus 250. That was the last one. But remember, like I said, it was the one that come in the box and little glass with the red and yellow ring around it. You had to snap it.
Right. But when was your last shot before that? I
snapped one of these for the 90s. It's like
when was the last shot before that?
Probably 8 days before that.
That's not too bad. Yeah, you shouldn't. That shouldn't be it.
I normally, if I'm taking sus 250, I only go probably one every 8 to 10 days.
Right. Yeah, you should be fine.
Or when I can remember.
Then don't take sus 250 if you can do it every 10. You need to take that every other day.
Or maybe he's just too strong now because he's on the gear.
Yeah. But sus on 250 is you always have to defer to the shortest ester, which is the propionate. So in order for Sustain on 250 to be ultimately effective, you need to take it every other day.
I believe that too. Yeah,
maybe I'll switch to D-ball.
No, that's why I always like long-acting testosterone.
You see me next week.
I like long-acting testosterone because it always was steadily in your system.
Right.
You know what I mean, even if you missed a couple of days, it didn't matter because all the esters are long-acting.
I like Sustanon for the fact that it's almost like to begin the cycle with because it's like front loading.
Yeah, but you know what, John?
I'm a beginner.
The front loading thing is like, are you that impatient that you can't wait 2 weeks? I mean, I always tell people.
But clearly the shorter the ester, the more powerful the effect. So you get more
initially, but I mean, if you wait 2 weeks, you're going to get the same effect. You know what I mean?
True. That explains it then. That's why I'm 5'5". I've been using all these shorter esters. It's made me short.
That's probably one of the big reasons.
I remember the first time I went into like a pharmacy in Barcelona. It was so exciting that you can go in there and you can just say, you know what, give me a box of Winstrol, give me a box of Prima Bone, give me a box of Sustanon and the Testoviron. And they're like, okay, that'll be $8. And then I'll go back to my hotel and just, bang it all down.
That reminds me, speaking about that, I had to bring up how my good friend Shaun Davis passed away.
We didn't talk about that yet? Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
No, but I remember he came, where were we? Somewhere, he went to Portugal. And he had like a briefcase just full of gear. I'm like, you can get that here? He's like, yeah, it's all legal and stuff. But you never did part 2 of that interview with him, did you? Or
I think we did. I think, maybe we did 2 parts. I think we divided the first one, but I don't know if we ever did. But he said he was going to.
I was watching that one there because, like I said, when him and I with ProLab, he got me in contact with ProLab. Like, he was crazy because when I go to England, and he lived in Nottingham. I didn't see fucking Robin Hood at all, but when I went there, it was like he'd always talk about the soccer because football. He loved it. He'd talk about how it went before the game. This group would get with that group and they'd meet in the street and fucking punch on and shit. I'm like, that's a bit stupid. And Shaun's like, no, Lee, that's a way of life and blah, blah, blah. I said, what happens if you get injured? He goes, oh, yeah, it does happen. He goes, yeah, if you get stabbed, that sucks because you can't go to the game and stuff and watch the game. But it's like, we went to Universal Studios once and we're walking around. These young kids walk past us. And they're like, oh, fucking steroids. And as we're walking, Shaun goes, what did the fucker say? Because he had that real deep fucking accent and fucking tall, mean-looking mug. He just said steroids. Right. And he heads back. I said, Shaun, just let him go. No, Shaun grabs this little kid. They're like a little Mexican gangbang. It's nothing against Mexicans, but grabs him. What the fuck did you just say? And this kid's like shaking. He's like, nothing, sir. I didn't say anything, sir. I'm thinking that kid's never used the word sir in his fucking life. Shaun's standing over him. But then that one story he was telling, I wish I knew the end of it because we had to go to this ProLab fucking breakfast thing. And Shaun's like, I don't want to go. I said, fuck, I don't want to go. We've got to go to the expo all day. But Tom Rourke and John that own ProLab were having some investors come in and all the other people that, when they mingle at the Arnold who sell their products and it's full. So Shaun's idea is, he didn't tell me at first, he goes, do you really want to go? I said, no. He goes, okay, let's go. Get your ProLab trackers on, let's go. He goes, just follow my lead. We walk in, Shaun is got all right, this. As soon as we walk in and John and Tom introduced us to one person, Shaun's like, it's nice to meet you. Have you met Lee, my gay lover? So the whole time we're there, he's pretending we're fucking gay lovers. John and Tom that own the company are looking at us like, what are you two fucking doing? Shaun's like, well, we're here, aren't we? I haven't had time to put my makeup on. Look at Lee. He hasn't even got his dress on yet. I mean, and this went on for hours, and John and Tom are thinking, these two are destroying the company.
And the funny thing is, Lee's usually the outrageous one saying stuff like that.
When I seen it come from Shaun, though, he's like, follow my lead. I'm like, well, what are we doing? This is my gay lover, Lee. I'm like,
I don't think he ever told me the story because you're right. I think that was where we left off and we were supposed to go back.
He goes, oh, it's very funny. I'll tell you the rest when I come back on.
Well, thank God you told us the rest of the story. So
there's probably more than that because there's quite a few. I remember the time, back in the day, you could sort of joke around with the N-word a bit, but we're going down. We're just coming back from Universal Studios. This would have been late 90s. And he's like, oh, a dinosaur. Because they sell all the shit up there at Jurassic Park. So he brought this huge dinosaur head. So I'm driving out the Ford Saline convertible. We're coming around the back way. I think we're on Crenshaw where it comes off the freeway coming back to Venice, and he's got the big dinosaur claw hands on. And driving the car, he's sitting there. We're talking about a traffic light. There's a group of they look like young gangbangers. What's up?
What?
Red light. Lee's on it through the red light. I said, don't say that. He goes, I'm a dinosaur. I said, fucking dinosaurs don't say that. Like, I'm thinking they're going to pull a gun out and shoot us, but he did a joke like, hey, what's up? But the funny thing was, I think these young black kids were so like, someone dressed in a dinosaur fucking yelling that out. What the fuck?
This is why we don't do. This is why we don't do live shows with Lee, John.
You can't.
No, but it was funny. Oh, the shit we used to get up to. Then I did after the universe.
54 minutes to write down the timestamps.
You got to know where to cut that out.
Yeah.
I just said
bleep it. I got to bleep it.
When I used to do the Shotgun Big Show for VPX with Lee, we both Lee and I were very let's just say disgruntled.
Yes, that's a good word. That's a good word, John.
But even so, no matter how disgruntled I was, I could never muster the vitriol that Lee could.
Yeah.
And I mean, who was that girl competitor? She competed in the Olympia, and I don't know, figure or I don't remember.
Which whore are we talking about, John?
I know.
Don't be nasty. Come on.
There you go.
I'm not even going to bring up her name
because
because he's going to go on some diatribe about her. Yeah,
exactly. But he was making mention of a large part of her anatomy that's not supposed to be large, and bending over, and this and that, and all this terrible shit. Yeah. And I end up, years later, maybe 3 or 4 years later, I'm trying to get back in now because my wife is competing. I'm at the nationals, with her, and I'm in the audience, waiting for her to go on stage, and this woman comes out and says, "John Romano, you're John Romano." And I put my hand out to shake her hand.
Hold on, John. Take that back. She come out and goes, "John Romano, John Romano, you're John Romano."
It was more like it. Lee, that was more like it.
Yeah.
And she starts ripping into me about what I said and how I said it and how it lit a fire in her belly, and she took fourth in the Olympia because of me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Thank you then, John. Right?
Well, I said fourth. Well, I tried to boost her ego. I said fourth. You should have taken second. And so this whole thing goes down, and then it's in front of people, and they're all looking and everything, and most people said I handled it very well. But anyway,
she got her little testicles in a knot, didn't she?
She did. But what it turns out, the point of the whole thing is, it turns out like I was racking my brain trying to think of this. I went back into the archives. I found the show, and it was him. It was Lee that said it all. It wasn't me.
Can you go back into the archives and find that show and bring it back up?
It would be cool.
I'll tell you why Lee's dangerous, because you see, if you hang out with Lee and you're like a good instigator, like you and I are, John, you can get him to do anything.
You're guilty by association.
And you're guilty by association when he does do it. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, I do it in
If we wind him up too much, it's very dangerous.
I do it in jest and fun. People just take it the wrong way. It's just fun. That's like, that's where, what's his name, Mr. Blackman, who, like you said, it'd be great to have him on the show. You would not believe how many times. Ring, ring. Yep. Hi, Steve. Yeah, Lee, did you hear about such and such and this and that? No, I didn't, Steve. Yeah, such and such. In your next article, put in there such and such and such and such. Next thing, I get a thing from the IFBB. Then Steve's like, Lee, why did you say that in the article? I'm like, because you fucking told me to. You told me what the. I said, how the fuck would I know what's going
stir up trouble, right, John? Stir up some trouble.
I vividly remember numerous occasions where Jim Mannion has a copy of MD in his hand, and he's talking to Steve, and he's pointing at it like this, and he's yelling at him and everything. Of course, it was either me or Lee.
But you know what the sad part was? If everyone didn't take themselves so seriously, what Blackman was having Lee do was really actually good for selling magazines. It just wasn't good because no one ever wanted to be made fun of at all, and because no one had a sense of humor about anything.
No.
So they took what Lee was saying as serious rather than saying it's Lee Priest. All right, so let him do it.
It's just like the wrestling. Play along with it. Good cop, bad cop. You know. I was actually, because I was showing my friends when I was in Brazil, they came across the 2 shows where I dressed up as the Joker and Batman. And then I said, did you ever see the one where I dressed up as Steve? So I showed them that one.
Blackman hated any imitations of him.
Yeah, he didn't think it was funny at all. Yeah,
and he actually fired a guy. One of the guys that worked for Twin Lab. He did impressions. It was like a hobby of him. He was really good too.
Yeah,
and he did an impression of Blackman somewhere in public, and he goes, "The next thing, creatine soap." And everybody around him was hysterical, laughing, and Blackman's like this.
Yeah.
But it's like
fired him.
You see, people make fun of me. I think it's a form of flattery in a sense. You know what I mean?
Hey,
but he was so good. I mean, you thought it was him. I mean, he was really, really good.
It was like before he came on.
Soap, oh my God!
Before he came on, I was saying, like I said, it would actually be good to have Steve on. Like I said, no one needs to talk about the past and the shit that happened, but it'd be good just to come on if he came on and talked about those funny stories and the things that went on and the things. I remember so many times when I do one of those stories, and Ron Harris would have to, ghostwrite, because he'd call me up and I'd just talk, and he would be, recording it and writing it down or whatever. You don't know how many times I get a call. Lee, that part in that bit, is there anything we can put in different? The girls in Edling don't really like that part. I said, but it's true. How can I change it? You asked me a question, and I'm telling you that's what happened. So it's like, I used to always think, the people in editing are having a good time with your article today, Lee. I'm like, I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I used to get those calls too.
That's what I said, but they were fun days. It'd be actually good to have Steve on and talk about it. I was even just saying Dave could have a segment once a month called, the papers with Steve, and Steve can come on with his stack of newspapers and they can go through them and discuss the latest
or the studies, like Blackman said. I don't know if you saw this morning, but in the Journal of Proctology, they had an article on creatine enemas, and he's telling the story to somebody's secretary. About any of this stuff. I don't know if you saw.
I love hearing that stuff. I like talking about the latest studies because he's so like on top of it, because he's interested in it, that he actually will provide a service, because people don't know this stuff unless it comes out like in a popular newspaper. No one would know that the Journal of so and so released this article. So it's actually kind of cool if you think about it. But
he talked to me about that stuff, but because I'm just a dumb bodybuilder, I'm very basic. Some of the words he comes out just go over my head. I'm just like, what the fuck you on about, Steve? It's like, does it work or not? It's like,
but more than that, I would like to say, hey, Steve, remember the time Dave and I secretly recorded Lee while he was under contract?
Good, we got
a whole interview.
I remember at the interview, Dave comes over and goes,
from down here.
I got a call about that, because it was like, Dave come over, hey, Lee, can we do an interview? I said, well, I really can't, because I'm on the country with Steve. I said, oh, hold on. Just turn the camera on and just start talking to me, and I'll play dumb.
Like we tricked Lee.
Lee, what's this interview? I saw you with Dave and John and that. I'm like, what interview? I said, they come and talk to me. I said, they were talking to me. I said, did they record that? I said, oh. I said, they never told me they were recording that.
And, we knew it irritated him so much. So I think we got one with Greg too, where we got him on camera for a few seconds, and we put it front center, like Valentino on RX Muscle or Lee Priest on RX Muscle, and that was like a trigger for him. He probably made the office life miserable for fucking a month after that.
And then we did shit like then we interviewed Lee's wife.
That's
Greg's friends. Right, and then the contracts used to say it's exclusive.
Yeah.
You can't your wife, your friends, your family.
Right.
I forgot about that, John. Oh my God, he added some family members there.
Because you interviewed my training partners and my wife, and then when my new contract came, it said they cannot talk to any of your relatives, friends, training partners. It's like, don't even talk to Lee's dog.
I don't even know if that's legal to do that. You know,
of course not.
It had everything: wife, friends, training partners. You could have talked to everyone.
Possible.
That addendum probably cost him about $10,000 from the lawyers.
Then at the bottom, it probably had IE hairdresser. Everyone did not talk to anyone.
It's funny because people would ask me about, how, what's it like, you were with MD for so long and, what's your career like now? And then I have to say, I had much more fun afterwards than I did during because we had so much fun fucking with him. We had a good, for 5 years, especially that first 5 years was because I told me it was like a Howard Stern thing. We were like, we made him the enemy. He really believed it. We were just playing it up like it was like a big deal. And we used that to get views and it worked, It worked
who's good at like AI graphics? We should have him as that not Darth Vader, but who's the other one like Palpatine that had this
the Emperor.
We should have Steve Blackman as the Emperor doing the laser fingers at us all. But no, it would
welcome to the dark side.
now that he's that's folded, what's he actually going to do now? Because I don't see Steve actually laying low retiring because he always likes to keep him busy. What's he actually going to do?
He should do a monthly show with us and then just
I think he should.
He can do all the stuff he likes. He only likes the nutrition bites anyway. That's the only thing he really enjoys.
We could do a whole show called Bites.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, though, if he did come on and we did talk about stories, even good and bad, it'd be good because he could tell his side, we could tell our side.
Yeah.
And
he couldn't handle. He couldn't handle that. He couldn't handle it.
No, he didn't take it personally.
It have to be exclusively nutrition bites, that kind of.
But the thing is, though, it would be funny because Steve would have his fans who would be like, they'd like him, and some would hate us, and then
because everyone would like us, and then he would get upset about that because
he would actually have. Hey,
can you imagine the comment section, John, on that? If we were debating him about things, forget it.
Yeah.
Can I come if he comes back on? Can I come back on dressed as him, and it's like, guess the real Steve?
Oh man, good old days.
But they were fun times back then.
Yeah, they sure were.
I think it was when it was just before COVID. It must have been the Olympia. Was it 19? Was that the last Olympia before COVID when I was at the Black Skull booth and I toured around there, Steve? I went, oh, here he comes. I think, is he going to come over? He comes over and he puts his arm around me. He goes, Lee, I really do like you and stuff like that. And he started going on. I took a photo with him and stuff. I said, I got nothing against you, Steve. I said, we just have fun and joke around on the thing. And he just sort of smiled and then walked off and
he wants back in, John. He's got to miss it.
Well, there was a really funny part during that initial 5 years when he was trying to give everybody a contract,
Yeah.
And so we started telling people like, Kevin Levrone, you need money? Go talk to Steve,
No, they would first come on our show and I would interview him and then he would sign them after that, right?
Yep. And so he couldn't talk to anybody. So he was given like $150,000 a year contracts. He was handing them out like candy. Everybody got one. Dorian got one. Kevin got one. Shaun got one. Flex got one. Branch got. Everybody was getting these contracts because of us.
Yeah. And so they would come on the show and get the contract. And then
now I'm on this show and his company's folded. I'm not going to get a contract. Fucking great.
I should have taken a commission on those contracts. Is what I should have done.
Yep.
Oh my God.
What was in that bag? Was that his computer?
That infamous bag. That bag went everywhere.
Everywhere. Even the steak restaurants. That bag was with him.
I'll tell you what was in that bag: a tube of Retin-A, the 2 copies of the Current magazine. that picture.
Yeah. That was his favorite picture, that one. That's a good picture.
Yeah, it was.
The Superman picture.
No, it's the Joe Weider. Don't you guys keep forgetting he wanted to be Joe Weider.
Right.
That's Joe Weider's pose. Exactly Joe Weider's
like
pose.
Clark Kent like that too.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Yeah, I didn't have to use Robbie." You know,
he had Herb Bernal Photoshop the arms.
Right. Herb Bernal photoshopped the arm.
And
then what was the famous one? This one, shaking hands with Dennis Wolf, and he tried to he put his arm in the foreground. Remember? Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
that one.
The forearm. That's Lee Priest's forearm on that one. What the hell's going on? I used to love that cover. What the cover they had of me doing the Myth Shop, the Resurrection one. That was a pretty good.
Yeah. That was a great shot. He had some good cover shots, yeah.
You know what? He put out a quality product. I have to say that. He had the best.
Even like I said back in the day, even like I said when I was with Twin Lab, the products were good. The magazine was good. It was fun times. I just said towards the end there. Then, like I said, when it came down to the contract thing, and it's like, don't ignore me, Steve. I know you're in the office. Oh, he's not in the office, and I'm like, I go online. Blackman is online. Oh, you're online, but you're not answering me. So that went on for about a month. Call up again. Can I talk to Steve? Oh, he's not here. Oh, he's online. Fuck it. Steve, since you cannot come to the phone, I might as well ask you here. And I just put it all out there. Then I got this I got a big email probably 30 minutes later. Why would you put that online and blah, blah? I said, well, you didn't fucking take my phone call. I could see you're online.
You know, it's funny because all good things always come to an end. You know why? Because someone allows other people to seep into the equation and sabotage a good thing. Think about all the great bands that have broken up over a woman or over a business arrangement.
Think of all the wars, Helen of Troy or whatever.
Just when everything is going great, someone screws it up, and it's the same thing.
That was Fat Adina, whatever her name was.
Yeah, she was.
She did a lot. She didn't ruin it. She didn't ruin it for John.
She did a lot of damage.
She did damage after we left. Yeah, she did.
Where is she now? Where is she now? Anyway,
I don't know.
Somewhere in Texas.
Yeah.
Out grazing in the past.
She did a lot of damage, that girl.
Yeah.
The
She went from someone just on the boards chatting away to bloody.
The problem was, Blackman hired me because he knew I had street credibility with the bodybuilders because I was a bodybuilder, but I had the know-how to do the website stuff, and I was a hard worker. So it worked. And like John said, we created, John and I, a cool factor to the whole thing because we were legit. We were bodybuilders, but we also were, we also could do the work of the magazine and the website. Once I left, he didn't really have there was no one to replace John and I in that role. So he started getting people who were like forum people, and they were able to handle the job description, but I don't think they had the credibility. And so we would ridiculing that. You remember from the Robbie Durant, and I feel bad because I actually like Robbie Durant.
Yeah,
but we were ridiculing them because they didn't really belong there. They didn't have the street credibility, even though they had the intelligence to do the job.
Right.
And so he was getting destroyed online like with that. There was no credibility to what was going on. So he kept hiring more and more, athletes to try to compensate. But you can't have too many superstars if you don't have enough people who know how to extract the information out of the superstars, and that's.
But it's like you said though. Imagine if he just had stuck with you and John when you had the idea of doing the radio shows online and stuff.
Yeah.
Where it could have been now because you would have been first to push it out there.
Yeah.
Lee, I say that all the time. If Bleckman's ego didn't get in his way, today he would be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world of bodybuilding.
Because I would have been
bigger. He'd have been bigger.
I would have talked him into building a crazy studio, which would have been nicer than whatever we built. And I would have talked him into flying people in, which would have, because it would have been, he would have got sponsors to cover it. It would have been.
He'd probably own the Olympia name now.
We've said that.
We would have talked him into buying that too, guaranteed.
Yep, guaranteed. Guaranteed.
And if I had got my glutes shredded, I might have won it because he would have said.
Right. Well, the sad thing is that as far as bodybuilding history goes, he single-handedly destroyed one of the most, precious titles in bodybuilding. The oldest, longest running continuous bodybuilding title in the world is muscular development.
Yeah.
And he killed it.
But
so
remember how big it used to be? It's almost like a Bible. It used to be so thick.
Yeah, but think about it. In his defense, all the magazines are gone. Okay.
The name. I mean, the magazine. Yes. I mean, even
right. He had the opportunity to nurture the online presence, but he didn't know how to monetize it. And didn't know how to make.
But had he left us alone to do what we were doing, the name Muscular Development, be it in print or online, the brand would be huge right now. Well, it would be the biggest thing going.
Him himself too, because he was so into the nutrition side and this and that. I'm sure by now, like I said, if you and Dave had started all this back then, if Derek from No Plates, No Dakes could have got on Joe Rogan, Steve could have got on Joe Rogan talking about nutrition and all the
absolutely. Absolutely.
Steve,
we would have had a fitness show, I'm sure.
Steve and all his know-how of products, whether it was correct or not, he was sort of like the Elon Musk of nutrition back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
He was.
Now we're going to Mars on RX Muscle, so that's all there is. He didn't see Mars as the potential for Mars. We saw it. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap up now. We gotta. What are you doing?
I found something I can sell. I need a new sponsor. I found something I can sell.
What? Oh, snake oil. That's great. I have a lot of that too, supposedly.
I heard.
Bob and I are friends now. We're not
according to Dave's critics, he's got a lot of snake oil.
I do have this. Hold on. I still have a couple of tubs of this, so people don't panic. I have a couple of tubs. I'm not going to starve just yet. So
you're the only one who has Protolyze because we've been out of it, and I reformulated it with probiotics. So you could probably
I have 2 tubs.
You could probably sell that for a lot of money.
For Protolyze, these 2 tubs will go up for auction today. The highest bidder.
Actually, Lee, you're playing with a great idea. You should make a little package. So you sign that bottle, and then put a couple 8x10s, a T-shirt, make a little package, and then put it for sale on like Amazon and or eBay.
But the problem is you give all the money to the Animal League.
This is what I have left. This is my package and promotion. I have a Protolyze.
Oh, so you're down to the bare bones. You have almost nothing left.
Megalize. Wow. I have 1 Fiberlyze left, and I have 1 Isolyze. So if I don't sell them, I shouldn't go catabolic for at least a couple of weeks. But if I do sell them, here's my package. The highest bidder will get this with some signed photographs.
Let go of that Fiberlyze. You might need it one day.
Jimmy told me too.
Jimmy has hemorrhoids now because he hasn't been using his Fiberlyze regularly.
Well, I need to make a comment about Fiberlyze.
Okay.
I've discovered something about it. It works much better when you take it with a meal.
Oh, interesting.
And it may say that on the directions. I don't know. I've never read them.
No.
I used to take it at night before I went to bed on an empty stomach. And the next day, I'd shit 12 times the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So when I combine it with a meal and I take I added 2 meals, I'll take a half a scoop with each meal. Right. And what happens is it mixes with the food and it just works for me way better that way.
Yeah.
So kids, take your Fiberlyze with your KFC.
There you go.
I take my my afternoon dose with food, and then I take the night dose. I'm not really on an empty stomach because I usually eat 2 Quest cookies before bed. So, so I'm not technically on an empty stomach.
But on a really empty stomach, it messes with you.
Yeah, it's good if you're starving though and you're dieting and you take it on an empty stomach. It'll get rid of your appetite.
Oh yeah. You wait until it turns to pudding and then eat it with a spoon.
Well, sometimes I do that through the night if I'm starving. I can't be bothered eating. It's like 1 a.m. when I get a drink of water, I might throw a scoop of Fiberlyze in it, then go back to bed.
It does take the edge off your appetite. Yeah.
But then the problem is I wake up and shit the bed, and then the wife has to change the sheets.
No, you don't.
I'm getting old.
Nino just ordered 12 more tubs. He's like, I think I'm your longest running customer. I said, I think you are, guy. I have to. You're certainly the most loyal customer.
Guy Sister Nino loves it. Yeah, when I was there, he loves it.
He's a big Fiberlize advocate.
Oh, look, I did find these. So look, I can sign.
You're like Valentino. You're pulling shit from under your desk all of a sudden. Whoa!
Look at that.
When's that from?
06 when I got the face tattoo, but then I found this good one I like. This was the cover of Flex magazine. That I was just holding a dumbbell, waiting for the next shot, and Chris Lunn. Oh, this was another one. Look at that one.
That's a good one.
Oh, that's a famous one. Yeah.
There's this one that Chris Lunn took that was on the. Sorry, Pope. The Pope just fell over. Nothing worse when the Pope's head's in your lap. This one here was taken for the cover of Flex magazine. Remember that one?
Yeah, you're very young looking there. Yeah, no tattoos.
Look how handsome I was on the arm.
No tattoos either.
No tattoos.
Kids, this is what happens. Don't do drugs.
You ruined yourself with the tattoos. Yeah, you were.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I get told that 100 times a day on the internet. Thanks for joining in.
You were a very good looking man. You could have been. Lee's a very handsome man. Who did Bleckman tell that to?
The attorney. What was
attorney?
Yeah. What was his name?
Stern. What was his name? No.
Oh shit! I can see his face too.
Wasn't Ginsburg? No.
What was his nickname? What was his nickname though? Online.
I don't remember.
On Get Big. You remember?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I used to talk to him all the time on the phone too.
All the time. I almost killed him at the Olympia because I had just gotten gyno surgery. And he came up behind me and like grabbed me like in a
Oh, he did. Oh shit.
And it was pulling on his stitches, and I was starting to elbow him.
Special ed. What was his? Remember special ed?
That was it. Special ed.
Well, if Steve's watching, I want Steve to know. Look past the tattoos. I'm still the same person inside.
You want to give Lee a contract? He's available.
Well, you say, what's he going to do now that he's doesn't have the magazine? I'll tell you what he's doing. He's watching every single one of these shows that we do.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, if he isn't, he would know that we obviously we love him because we're talking about him, and.
Apart from not paying, I said we all had more good times than bad times.
I've never received any money from him, so I'll give him that. So he paid me everything he owed me. So I'd get him on, like I said, and do it, and definitely would love to get some nutrition.
Well, like I said, I think you and him could have a great monthly show on nutrition.
It'd be really good. If he can look past everything that's happened, I can put it behind us. If he can put it behind us, I'm sure John could do the same thing. You could do the same thing. Then we could offer him a second lease on life, and everyone likes a good comeback. You know that.
I took $1 million from him. I don't think he's going to warm up to me anytime soon.
Oh, that's where my last paychecks went, didn't it, John?
Yeah, the past is the past. That's all there is to it.
Right. Well, when he comes on, John, you can show him the beautiful water feature outside.
Yeah, why not?
They say I named this after you. This is the MD River that I've got in my backyard.
All right, I have a headache. That means it's you. When I get the headache,
get a CT scan. Get a CT scan.
Yeah. When I get a headache, I know that means that the show has been too long already. So, an hour and 20 minutes. All right,
I got to drive to Sydney. As long as the car doesn't break down, I should be fine.
Don't break down in the middle.
And like I said, I'll say now, if it does break down, it's going to burn. So if I call you, Dave, and say the bit on the show where the car's going to burn, take it out because the car's burning.
I gotta take a lot of stuff out in this show already. So I got my notes here.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Hey, mate.
Once again for Iron Rage. John, thanks for kicking in. I know you had a busy day, but I appreciate you joining us. I know you couldn't take
and John's still looking very dapper in the black, and it looks like he's actually been out for dinner or something. You're
looking like? You're starting to look like Billy Bob Thornton.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I guess that's a good thing.
He aged very well as Billy Bob.
I'll take that.
Remember he was dating Angelina Jolie when he was like 50 something, I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
and their blood vials. But next show we'll have to talk about.
He got it when she was super hot too, you know.
Yeah.
So.
I have to talk about when I went to Rome and you've been to the Vatican, haven't you?
I haven't. No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to talk about that next time because I was never interested in going. But when you go into that place, I mean, like, I'm not religious, but just the artwork and the sculptures and that, it just takes your breath away just to see. Yeah. It's like, oh, wow.
I know you haven't had a lot of sleep the last couple of weeks, but you kind of told us and showed us all the pictures already on the show. I don't want to break it to you.
Did I?
Yeah.
Who are you people? What am I doing here?
And on that note, we'll see you guys next week.
How do I